may be small, but my empire keeps on growing.
What recently came out regarding Kandi Burruss and her daughter Riley Burruss will surprise you. Fans watched Kandi on the Real Housewives of Atlanta for years as a confident, successful woman who seemed to have everything under control, including her work, music, and home tasks. She handled everything went well. But while everyone's focus was on Kandi's growing business world, something else was happening quietly. Most people didn't expect it. Kandi's daughter Riley had been there from the beginning. When the cameras first entered their home, she was only a small child. She barely talked at first, and often seemed shy, maybe even confused by the attention. Riley seemed to be living a dream life with fame, money, and all the benefits that come with being the daughter of a TV star. But that was just outside. The small child couldn't easily understand the mess of reality TV. The truth was very different. It gets interesting at this moment. Riley was slowly changing into someone no one had expected. While the world was busy with Kandi's problems, fans thought she had everything. But Riley wasn't trying to get attention or chasing fame. Instead, she was born into it. And even though it was shiny, it had its bad sides. She didn't ask for fame, to have her photos shared online, to have her every move watched, or to have her teen years picked apart by strangers. The world was watching her grow, sometimes too closely. Because her mother showed confidence, people thought Riley would too, but she quietly struggled. During interviews,
supporting from afar, and you know my daughter Riley is going to be on a new show coming to Bravo, Next Gen. They just announced it last week. Yeah, so I hope you guys support my daughter Riley Burruss. Y'all seen her grow up on the Real Housewives, and now she's going to be on a new show. It's coming June 3rd, so check her out too.
What tips did you give her about entry? I mean, obviously she's a part of reality television in the past, but to a different level.
Yeah, it's a different level, and so I told her, when you're filming, stand on everything you say. Don't ever go back and try to act like you didn't say something so they can rewind the tape on you.
Roll the tape.
You have to own it, stand on it. And if you need to apologize, but don't lie about saying stuff.
Absolutely.
Because we be having a lot of liars on those shows, you know. We don't want to be, no.
She later admitted that she often felt her voice was not important even at home. Not because her mother didn't care, but instead because Kandi was always building something. A new show, a restaurant, a concert. Riley said that although she liked her mother's hard work, there were times when she just wanted to spend more time with her, and that she sometimes felt left out. The most surprising part is that she kept it a secret. Riley kept everything inside, including the loneliness, the stress, and the constant comparisons. She held all of it quietly, and Riley had to face people's opinions. While kids her age dealt with school drama despite comments about her looks, personality, and even the way she talked, she had to smile for the cameras because it was expected of her. She once said that she felt pushed to live a perfect life every day, not only for herself but also for everyone who believed she was. But when life changed in a surprising way, Riley chose to focus on her studies instead of breaking down, got accepted to New York University, and tried to build her future her own. At first, she wanted to study nutrition, but she soon saw that her interest was more about voice, self, and sharing more than just food. She didn't want to be known as Kandi's daughter. Instead, she wanted to be Riley, with her own story, dreams, and name.
It's been about a year since you announced you were leaving Housewives. Did you have any FOMO or regret knowing cameras were backed up, or is it all that chapter is closed and you've moved on?
Actually, I feel like it's closed for me and I moved on. I thought to myself when I was first making the decision, I was kind of like, ugh, is this smart? Like, am I doing the right thing? And anytime you've done something for 14 years straight, it's kind of like hard to walk away from it.
She finally chose music, the same area from which her mother came, but with a different aim. She wasn't copying Kandi's path. Instead, she wanted to learn about the business on her own and make a space for herself. Let me tell you, this wasn't teen trouble. Instead, it was Riley finally stepping out of the shadows and saying, "This is who I am." The story is special because it wasn't about drama, for attention. Instead, it was about someone who had stayed quiet for too long and finally found the bravery to. The surprising part, though, is this. Riley shared a shocking truth just when everyone thought she had quietly moved on, focusing on her time in college and staying away from the spotlight. Riley recently shared more than ever before in an interview, and her fans were surprised by what she said. She spoke clearly about her early life, her feelings, and what it was really like to grow up as Kandi Burruss's daughter. This is where the emotion really builds because of how strong her words were. Riley said that although she was proud of her mother, she often felt like she didn't fit in at her own home. Kandi wasn't a bad mother, she said, but she was always working, busy, and not around. Riley said that there were times when she just wanted her mother to sit down, ask about her day, or just be there without the cameras or work talk. Things usually celebrated like birthdays, school events, and even normal evenings when she felt lonely, even with people around. Some of the times she shared was the first time she had ever spoken the quiet pain that had been growing for years. The most shocking thing is that Riley kept everything to herself and never told any of this to Kandi. Those close to her thought she was lucky, rich, known, and lived in a big house, but she was in quiet pain. For the public, she had to act okay, but in her heart, she wasn't. That she felt pushed to always be strong and that there was no space for kindness, tears, or saying so. Not okay. The story changed when the cameras kept rolling. Even with her struggles, Riley was about to star in her own reality show, Making It in Manhattan, just days after her interview got big attention. Everyone started asking if this was all planned. Was Riley's emotional story a trick to get people to watch her show, or was it all a random event? Fans were, but some cheered Riley's bravery for finally sharing the truth after all these years, while others thought it was too perfect and well-timed. Social media was filled with comments like, "She's just using the drama to push her show. After all these years, why now? Why speak up?" The same week she shares a new series. Others, though, pushed back in support of Riley. They said she had every right to tell her story and that she was not hurting anyone if she wanted to start her own business. Instead, it just meant she was ready. This is where things got really messy, I must say. People started looking at Kandi instead of only reacting to Riley. Fans were wondering about her thoughts on the issue. But does she get defensive and angry? Which is it something? But Kandi did something no one expected instead. Kept her. She agreed with many of Riley's words instead of denying any of. She said she missed things, that she had to make hard choices between her family and her work, and that sometimes she did choose her work because she thought it would help her. Her truthfulness in the interview will surprise you. Kandi said that she used to lie awake at night and worry about Riley feeling angry at her as a child. She tried her best, but that sometimes the stress of running a business and raising a child at the same time was too hard. She was sad but not shocked to hear Riley say that she felt unseen. "I knew there were things I missed it. I just hoped one day she would understand why I did what I did, Kandi." Just when people thought that Riley and Kandi's relationship might get better, things started to get interesting. The drama went to a new level because of the internet. The word Riley said was looked at by fans who compared it to past Real Housewives of Atlanta clips, videos of Kandi smiling for the cameras while Riley was a quiet, almost hidden child in the background started to spread. The clips were placed next to Kandi's newest interviews where Riley looked clear, sure, and open. The change could not be missed. People knew this was about a girl who had quietly been working on her voice for years, not just about fame. The most strange thing, though, was that the more honest Riley was, the more the problem grew. Across websites, blogs, and podcasts, hashtags like #RileySpills and #BurrussFamilyDrama were popular. Other Bravo stars also started to comment. Riley was called ungrateful by some who said things like, "How can she blame her mom after everything Kandi's done For her. Others praised her for having the courage to say what many famous parents' kids are too scared to admit. That time, the real fight started. Just between the mother and daughter, but also between the fans. The surprise is that Kandi and Riley were actually getting closer in real life while all of this was happening online. Yes, you heard, right? According to family sources, Kandi began listening more for the first time. When Riley became more open, they were having deep feelings talks that had been missing for years instead of short talks about schedules and reminders. It was real, even though it wasn't easy or perfect. Tell us that we're both telling each other, not just Burruss, the truth. This is what made the story different from the usual drama of a reality show. There was no public shaming, no big walkout, and no loud yelling fight. Instead, saw shared pain and pure honesty. Kandi admitted that she hadn't always been there. Riley said that she held back her feelings for too long, but neither of they blamed the other. Were finally accepting and trying to close the distance that fame had caused between them. But this is where fate took another surprising turn. Riley did something else that stirred things up again. Just as people were starting to believe that this story might end calmly, she spoke about the rumors directly in a recent interview. People think I did this to get attention, but I didn't. I had to speak. Couldn't stay quiet any longer. Making it in Manhattan, she said, was about her search to find who she was outside of her mother's world, not about drama or revenge. What makes this story so strong is that she was only trying to stand on her own and wasn't trying to bring her mother down. Riley was finally taking control of her life. She wasn't acting wild or doing a publicity trick, and Kandi supported it instead of stopping it. Even shared behind-the-scenes photos of Riley filming, writing things like, "I'm proud of my baby. She's finding her." The fans were amazed. Despite all of Riley's emotional sharing, Kandi chose to back her daughter out of love, not pride, but the tension. Would something else come out? Some fans wondered as they waited. Would more secrets be shown by Riley's show? Would the mother-daughter relationship last, or would they be broken by fame again? You won't believe what happened next. Riley's show Making It in Manhattan started just as fans were starting to move on from the drama and thought it was over. The first episode of the show caused a storm of new feelings, deeper truths, and yes, even more questions. Riley shared moments that no one expected to see on screen. So, about the pressure to smile when she wasn't feeling good and how she would get praise for being Kandi's daughter, but never just for being Riley. For the part that really made people pay attention, it felt like therapy in front of the world and wasn't just a show anymore. There were times I thought my voice didn't matter, like no one really saw me, unless I was in Kandi's picture. But now I'm not asking to be seen. I'm just living, Riley said as she sat down in a scene that was just her, without any fancy look or everything changed with that one line. The criticism suddenly started to go down. People were now relating instead of just reacting. Riley was now speaking for all kids who felt like side characters in other people's stories, not just herself. At this point, the problem reached its deepest level, not with anger or insults, but with understanding. People saw that this was a breakthrough rather than a takedown. According to close sources, Kandi herself watched the episode before it aired and cried because she finally saw Riley as more than just her daughter. Instead, she saw her as her own woman. And here's the strongest part: Kandi accepted the story in a quiet but powerful post. Instead of trying to change it or hide it with PR, sometimes it takes losing control to find real connection. Kandi wrote, "Even though Riley's truth is hard to hear, I'm proud of her. Hearing it is better than staying quiet." This story was special because it ended with growth rather than a scandal. And that message touched fans because it was no longer about being perfect but about healing, not just for Riley but also for Kandi. Fate took a surprising turn. The daughter who once felt unseen took center stage on her own terms, and the mother who once tried to protect her from every hard thing had to let go. Together they showed that True love is about speaking the truth, to connect rather than staying quiet, for peace. And now for the surprising turn of events. Behind the scenes, according to those close to them, the problem actually made the family is stronger. More than ever, Kandi and Riley have honest, sometimes hard, and open talks. Riley even shared that she and her mother are working together on a project that will not be a show or a business but instead a foundation for young women who are growing up in the shadow of success and learning how to build their confidence. What do you think about what started as a personal storm turning into a platform for change? Was this just a daughter gaining her freedom, or was there more happening here? A secret change taking place inside a reality TV world that hardly ever shows the full story? No matter your view, one thing is sure: Riley made history by making her own legacy next to a legacy instead of breaking it.